Hello, beautiful sacred feminines. Thank you so much for joining me and for being here again. It's so nice to see you. It feels like it's been a little while since I've shared here, and it's just been a pretty intense couple of weeks, as you may or may not know if you follow me. I live full-time in my converted shuttle bus. I'm on pilgrimage, touring around the country, offering, supporting women, offering grief support for the wounded feminine via drum rituals and meditation and sound healing, energy healing. So that's been an interesting lifestyle for sure. So I haven't been out on the road for all that long, so learning as I go. And this past week, my little, I call her Vroomie, Magical Miracle Vroomie for short. That is my shuttle bus. And she decided all of a sudden she wanted a new fuel pump, like right now. Right now. She's just like, that's it. I just need it right now. And so she just stopped working and we pulled over to the side of the road, and I was like, okay, if that's what you need, I guess that's what we're doing right now. So, and that was just quite an adventure, to say the least. Yeah, it's not, she's a 2003 shuttle bus, so the parts for her aren't so easy to get, and I ended up having to rent a car from where I was to drive to San Antonio to pick up a gas tank from a salvage yard. That's a new experience for me. And drive it back, and then they went to install it and it was not quite the right size, and so they had to modify, and just like, oh my gosh. So anyway, that was just quite an adventure. So all my routines and everything just kind of went out the window, and I was just feeling a little stressed, and but also enjoying, like, I had a hotel room, so it meant I had a shower, so I took 2 showers a day, which is so nice, because out here on the road I don't get to shower daily like I normally do. So of course I'm washing myself with a washcloth and such, but a shower is a very different thing than a washcloth for sure. So that part was lovely and was quite nice. So anyways, back on the road, and really inspired to share. I had an experience. I was at the Carlsbad Caverns. Part of the pilgrimage also is to connect with the Mother Earth and do a lot of healing for her, and that is the sacred feminine, right? So there's a lot of wounded feminine energy on the planet. So, really connecting more deeply with her, communing with her, and getting in touch with my own feminine, outside of the city, outside of all the distractions, outside of all the conditioning, and really, it's a pilgrimage into myself as I'm supporting other women. So it's really getting quite rich, and I've been spending a lot of time in nature and just really connecting in a whole new way that I just couldn't do in the city, obviously, right? So getting out by myself, alone, just with the nature, it's just like amazing. It's been mind-boggling, and really challenging as well, because I'm like really having to work with myself and see my stuff without the distractions, so being really getting into my process, and really connecting with a lot of anger and rage that I have, the wounded feminine, the anger and the rage of the wounded feminine. And then there's sorrow and grief. My marriage just ended, and been working through that, and then just such empowerment and just amazing, like, waking up too. So it's been all the things. But so I've been connecting with different really special places in America. Like, I've been wanting to really connect with special spots on the land, and this recent place was Carlsbad Caverns. I don't know if you've been there, but if not, highly recommended if you're ever in New Mexico and near the area, or just, make it a priority and go check it out. Apparently there's caverns all over the place, though, so I'm learning this. So there's likely some in your area. Check it out. If you're in America, it sounds like there's a lot. So, but anyways, I was, on tour. There's a self-guided tour, and I thought all of the tours were sold out, but there was one that they were offering, and they still had a ticket available. So I'm like, awesome, I'm going to check that out. So I did my own self-guided tour, touring around. But then there's a special, like, King's Cavern or something, King's think that's what it's called, that is a guided thing that you pay for. So going in there with the guided tour, I was getting a lot more information, of course, than just me walking around. So learning about, this is what struck me, or talking about the bats. There's hundreds of thousands of bats that come in and make this their home at some points of the year. And when the caverns were discovered, there was like 40 feet or something of bat guano, in this area of the cave, just ugh. And then people came in, they realized that they could use this for fertilizer, so they took it out, and they were selling it, so they were making a profit off of this and fertilizing the land. So kind of a win-win, really. But the way they were talking about it was that this was not a positive thing necessarily, like kind of disturbing the caverns and the bat guano, or I don't know like why that's a good thing necessarily, but the way it was described was that people were pillaging this cavern kind of and making a profit off of it. So it just had me reflecting. It's kind of one more way that we shame ourselves and shame humans and disconnect humans from Earth, from nature, as not part of the cycle, as not part of the experience. Nobody was shaming the bats for pooping all over the place, for 40 feet of poop. If humans had gone in there and pooped 40 feet, we would have been shaming the humans for that, right? They're desecrating the area, they're upsetting the ecosystem, there's something, and when I first walked into the caverns, there's this huge area that all these sparrows call their home, and it smells horrible because they're pooping all over, that's what they do. Again, if it had been humans doing this pooping, that would have been a real problem, and people would have been talking about how horrible the humans are, but nobody was shaming the sparrows or saying how bad the sparrows were for pooping and making it smell. And there was green stuff all over, so kind of defacing the caves, if you really want to look at it that way. Had it been turned around and it was humans, we would have been shaming and shunning and, oh, how bad they are. And also on the caves, there was, I couldn't see them, I couldn't find them, but they said there was like hieroglyphics on there, which is, I was thinking about this too. Okay, so there's hieroglyphics at the front of the caves. They said they were really faded, so I couldn't find them. When I left, I was looking all over and I could not find them. But down deep in the caves, and these were celebrated, like, yay, there's hieroglyphs, that's awesome, people were making their mark, and that's really cool because that's older. Down under the caves, some of the people that were the first explorers had written their names in the caves, and this was frowned upon. That wasn't okay, but the hieroglyphs, those markings were okay. Those were celebrated, but these other people were not. I just thought that was really interesting because it's basically, if you want to call it that, kind of like graffiti. Why is this symbol over here sacred and this one's not? Why is this celebrated and this not? Like, if you really break it down, there's no difference. For whatever reason, these people putting their names on there, that was special and had meaning to them. Who knows what their thought process was, but we assume it's just no thought, and then there's no consciousness, and maybe there wasn't, but we don't really know what the consciousness of with the other people is either, like the ancient people. We don't know. Maybe they were just scribbling on things. Who knows? But it's just a really interesting judgment that I wanted to bring to our awareness, that the things that we will judge and label as good and bad, when really it's based on, we don't know. We don't know what the consciousness was of anybody. And the bats, like, why are they celebrated? Why is their poop so great when the humans are said to be being destructive in some way? Like, their existence, their experience of the caves is not positive. So it just really struck me as one more way that we take ourselves out of nature, take ourselves out of the cycle, make ourselves separate. Then who knows what meaning our being in the caves has? Who knows how much inspiration and joy and healing those caves have brought to people? Who knows what the meaning or the intention was? Maybe we're meant to be there, and we find, of course, because everything happens for a reason. So again, to shun and shame ourselves, we've taken on so much guilt, and we've taken on just, oh, humans are bad, we're destroying the planet, blah blah blah. And yeah, there's ways that we can bring more consciousness to our behaviors and how we're being. And that's part of why I do land healing, because a lot of stuff has been done on the land without any reverence. Yes, of course. And, but I know the bats aren't, just because they're bats isn't, I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? It's really, the bats aren't really thinking about it. I don't think the bats are going in there with a bunch of ritual and prayer and saying, thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, cave, for letting us live in here and poop in here. But we just assume that because they're animals, that it's all, like they're sacred and they're cherished and they're, it's all good. So that, it just really strikes me. I really want us to reclaim our place in nature, recognize that we are meant to be here. We are part of this experience. We are part of the cycles. We are part of the environment. For us to shun and shame ourselves is just, it's more of that Christian dogmatic, kicked out of the garden thing. It does not serve us. We are not destroying the planet. We're not, this global warming, climate change is a natural part of the cycles. Yes, of course, we can be more conscious with how we are being. That's always true, and I am all about that. That's what I teach and support us to do. But that's, again, for our own energy and to be in harmony with our environment. It brings us into harmony and balance within ourselves, but to disconnect from the environment and feel separate then is causing havoc within ourselves. The more we get into alignment with ourselves internally, the more we'll be in alignment externally, because there is no difference. It's all as within, so without, as above, so below. So just important, and I would like us to recognize when we're doing that, when we are celebrating ancient people for what they're doing, when we really have absolutely no idea what they're doing. We're putting our preconceived notions and our limiting belief systems onto their experience when we have absolutely no idea. We're just speculating, and we really romanticize other cultures' way of doing things, older culture's way of doing things, and crap on ourselves. It's just basically negative self-talk. Why do we do that? There's a lot of beauty in humanity. There's a lot of beautiful things that we do. We hyper focus on the negative, and that is creating our reality, creating our own internal strife and disconnect. And the more we can stop doing that and stop shaming ourselves and our very existence, which is what we're doing. We don't belong on the planet. The planet would be better off without us. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. We're here and we're learning, and she's learning with us. We all arise together. So if she didn't want us here, we wouldn't be here, and that's not how it is though. She's here. She's supporting us. We're here, and we're learning how to work with her better. And maybe other cultures in different times did have more of that knowledge, and we're remembering it, and that's great. But that's no reason to shun and shame ourselves. For whatever reason, we forgot some things, and I believe our DNA was messed with, and some negativity is here, but that's no reason to shun and shame ourselves. Just like, yep, that's it, and now what? And that's how I work with all of my programs and my sessions, and how I support people. It's like, okay, we have this energy over here that we're working with, and maybe it doesn't feel so good, but let's not stay in victim consciousness and beat ourselves up about it. Recognize it, own it, go, yeah, okay, and now what? Now how do we move forward, right? If we don't like the way we're interacting with the planet, if something in us doesn't feel good, change it, but don't shame other people, don't shame yourself, don't shame humanity. That is not the energy we need, and that is not the energy the earth needs. You know, we need to rise ourselves up and be in our power and recognize our light and just shine it. You know, if something's off, do what you need to do to fix it. You've recognized it, awesome, but don't keep putting yourself down and don't keep putting other people down. That gets us nowhere, you know. Stay in our own lane, take responsibility for our energy. If we all do that, we're going to be great. But let's quit shaming ourselves for our very existence on this planet. I see it all the time and it makes me a crazy person. You know, we can't be in our power. We can't be in love. We can't know our hearts when we're shunning and shaming ourselves. So let's get out from under that and just like, So that's what I got today. And yeah, let me know in the comments if that speaks to you, if it stirs you up, if it, you know, upsets you, makes you happy, has you thinking, anything. Like, comment, subscribe. Also, to work through these energies, know that I offer energy healing sessions and sound healing sessions to help us clear these energies, because they're real. You know, they are real. We are in them. We've got all this stuff, this shame, the guilt, and blah, blah, blah. Let's recognize it and clear it out. So, yeah, and programs, I offer programs to really help us move through this in a really powerful way. I have a 12-week program that is going to give you a completely new energy body and clear all of this stuff out of your system, and really help you to recognize all of those limiting belief systems, which that is what that is, you know. And it keeps us spinning in fear, and negativity and shame and guilt. It keeps us really at this very low level, you know. But when we recognize it and we see it, then we can start tapping into the beauty of our humanity and of our own existence and our light, and shine it in our hearts and come back into it. So check that out. But yeah, the energy healing sessions are super powerful. When you're ready for that, let's do it. And yeah, I look forward to further connections with you. Oh, and also on my pilgrimage out here, I offer lots of events, monthly events. There's 4 right now, and I'm getting ready to add another 1 or 2 onto the calendar every month. These are gifted to you by donation to support my pilgrimage, but that's the whole point of the pilgrimage, is to offer these sessions, to these events to people to help us to clear this energy. So that's an excellent way to get into your healing process at a really amazing, affordable experience. You know, it's yeah, just give what feels good, you know, and come and check it out. We're trying to create a lovely community here, and it's starting to happen, and I'm pretty excited about it. So I would love to see you there. And yeah, we do land healing, grief support, drum ritual, drum meditation, healing the wounded feminine. It's about empowerment. It's about yeah, clearing all these unhealthy energies, clearing. And we're going deep into it. We're really sharing from our hearts, and it's very interactive. I'm not the type of person that sits up here and just talks at you while you sit back and listen, you know. So I really want to hear from you. It's an opportunity for you to share and connect with other women and get support from other women who are working on their stuff too, you know, working to clear these limiting belief systems, this really unhealthy conditioning, all the fear energies, and clearing those wounded feminine, the anger and the bitterness and the sadness and the sorrow and the grief. So we're really working in there with our self-worth and worthiness, you know, where does all that stem from, and how do we clear it out? So yeah, I look forward to seeing you there. Reach out if you have any questions, and follow me on Facebook and Instagram and all the good things. And you can sign up for my mailing list on my website and get notified of all these events and all of everything that's going on, and get specials and exciting stuff. So do it. All right, all. Thanks for being here, and thanks for doing this work with me. It's just so powerful. I'm grateful. Bye.